Welcome to another episode of Time, Talent, Treasure Radio from Stewards Planning Group. Stewards Planning Group is a company that specializes in helping you build purposeful retirement plans, custom plans that not only help clients steward their treasure, but also their time and talent as well. They believe if you're taken care of financially, you can go even further to make the family, community, and kingdom impact you truly desire to make, which is the ultimate purpose of wealth. If you'd like to set up a no-cost, no-obligation meeting with one of their financial advisors, please give them a call at 222-4236. You can request a meeting at stewardsplanning.com, or you can simply stop by their office on 19th Avenue Southwest in Wilmer.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Time, Talent, Treasure Radio. I'm your host, Ben Taatjes, and joined today in the studio with Kendra Peterson. Once again, how are you today, Kendra?
I'm great, Ben. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. Last week we talked together a little bit about this idea of people doing their tax returns, and this is a time of year that people start to get a little more organized. And a question that I can remember always getting back when I was doing income tax returns earlier in my career was, where did it all go? You know, you get to this time of year, you're like, here's what we earned last year. Here's a summary of what we made. And you start to question, where did all of our money go? And it's a great time of year to really look at organization, right? To begin that first step of really our what we call a steward's plan is get things organized, figure out where everything's at. And the second piece, of course, we know is figure out where your money's going. So, Kendra, you and I have talked before the show and many other times about how sometimes we see clients who have significant wealth, they have significant income, they have the ability to do so much more, but yet it takes a steward's plan or a financial plan to really give them the freedom, right, to spend more, to give more, to be able to live their life better. Walk our listeners through that and maybe an example where you've seen that. Yeah,
so for many clients, when they're working with a financial firm, the firm is managing their investments, and so they're managing the client's wealth. And with the steward's plan, it's very important that we understand their wealth, again, organized in that first step. But the second step is, again, turning that wealth into income, which is very important for clients because otherwise all they see is kind of the size of the accounts, and it's very difficult for them to spend, even, again, if they know and we know that what they have is enough. And so going through this three-step process, again, where we help them organize, understand what they need to live on now and in the future. That third question, what do you do with the rest? So again, when we walk them through these three questions, what do they have? What do they need to live on now in the future? Now they can see in that third question, again, based on many different scenarios that we've illustrated for them, that there is room for them to spend their money and give them confidence to spend the money that they've saved.
Yeah, I like that. I think you touched on something there, the difference between wealth and income. So I look at wealth as kind of, it's just numbers on a piece of paper, right? Sometimes it's wealth can be various forms in land and real estate and other things, but for many people it's this retirement savings. It's a number on a old 401k that they're looking at. What do I do with it? How does that translate into life? Well, it translates into life by looking at the useful side of money, which is income. Income is actually what allows you to live, to give, to spend, to do all the things that you want to do. The thing that I oftentimes struggle with clients is helping them see what's actually possible. So many times they'll see this number, whatever number that is that enough? Well, I don't know if that's enough. It depends on what your lifestyle is. And for many of our clients, they're surprised once they see a full steward's plan on just how much they can spend. And I think right now, it's really important, this stage of life, when you're coming into retirement, that you have a full financial plan. When we give our clients the permission to spend, in fact, a budget or a spending plan allows them to spend with some confidence, to give with more confidence, to do the things that they want to do without having to worry about running out of money, because again, they have set out, right, charted this plan with us that allows them to accomplish their goals.
And again, with this planning software, we can run scenarios, because some of you might be thinking, well, what if I have a health concern? What if I go into a nursing home? Which again, we can run these scenarios for you. So again, even with these different circumstances that could come up, which again, if you don't need it, then you could pass it on to your kids, your grandkids, where right now we could give you the confidence to, again, make these decisions now and do something right now. I met with a client sometime last year, and again, going through this process, they had confidence in that, yes, we can give gifts to our kids on an annual basis. And they found a lot of enjoyment from doing that, which again, if they didn't go through this process, they wouldn't have ever been able to experience that with their kids.
Yeah, it's great when we can, come alongside a client, help them see that, yes, the time value of money is important, right? So when we look at money, that over time, right, it grows on a compound rate of return. That's valuable. That's typically what you hear about when you're working with a financial professional. What you're talking about there is almost the time value of memories. It's compounding relationships versus money. So when you're able to begin to take a trip early in your retirement, take your entire family somewhere, you get the benefit of those memories for many, many, many years versus, having a bunch of money go to your kids someday, right? And that's what we hear more than ever is clients someday end up having regret because they didn't do enough when they could, when they're active enough to do it. And the planning process that you're talking about, Kendra, is exactly what they need to get that freedom to spend those dollars, to give it to their kids, or to take their kids on experiential trips that we love to see them do.
Yeah, because in this process, we just met with a client last week where, again, we're encouraging them to go through this so that they can do things for their kids. And they're stating that same thing. They wish that their parents would have done experiences with them, again, instead of someday just accumulating some assets from them. Yeah,
I heard once that the average inheritance today, Kendra, is somewhere around 64 years of age. That's when most people get an inheritance. And for the most part, they're like, man, I could have used this. We could have used this money more when we were younger. That's one thing we hear. The other thing we hear a lot of is, man, I wish mom and dad had done more with us, right? And we could have done those trips and things together. So a Stewards plan allows you to see, where can I start to integrate those memorable trips, the gifts when the kids need it, much earlier in life without having to worry about running out of money. So really that's what stewardship is, about looking at these assets as a tool. Money's a tool. So that way you can get more out of life. So from all of us at Stewards Planning Group, until next time, steward well.
Ben Taatjes is a financial advisor at Stewards Planning Group. Securities offered through Cetera Wealth Services, LLC. Member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Cetera Investment Advisors, LLC. A registered investment advisor. Cetera is under separate ownership from any other named entity. 1104 19th Avenue Southwest, Wilmer, Minnesota 56201. The views depicted in this material are for information purposes only and are not necessarily those of Cetera Wealth Services, LLC. They should not be considered specific advice or recommendations for any individual. Neither Cetera Wealth Services, LLC nor any of its representatives may give legal or tax advice.